Welcome everybody back to another episode of my podcast and vlog. So hello if you're watching. The few subscribers that I have on YouTube, it's always good to have you back. I don't know why I say that because we're never live. I know that I always start my podcast off like this, going I'm super excited and delighted, but I'm really excited to have the amazing Ding Zheng on today because we were just talking in the green room, and I have my imaginary green room around what we're going to talk about. This my usual guest now, I'm a bit rough and ready around all of this, and I stumbled across Ding. All roads seem to lead back to Justin Michael and the Sales Borgs at the moment, but he'd written a rap. Yes, a rap on, I believe it was Justin's new book that he's released. And I was thinking, a rap on LinkedIn, what is the world coming to? So I tracked Ding down. He was very, very kind to be a guest on the show. So I will now shut up because I talk too much. Ding, welcome to the show. Loving the sales hat. Who, what, why, when, where?
Hello, Alex, Death of a Salesman podcast. What's going on, y'all? This is Ding here, the sales rapper, former B2B software salesperson turned musician and marketer. It's good to be here on the show, man. It's so funny. Shout out to Justin Michael, Tech Powered Sales. I've staked my public brand as a musician, artist, championing the creator economy. But at the heart, I'm a sales guy. So I appreciate being on this this show, my man. Let's jump into it.
Let's jump into it. Awesome. So what I've looked through your career, and what caught my eye initially is that you started out in the world of legal and law, working for a law firm, I believe. Now I do a lot of work with law firms, so you didn't decide to stay doing document reviews. I know, and reading through loads and loads of things and doing long hours and having no life. So
yeah, certainly.
You made the pivot from legal and you kind of went into sales, but you talked about you're a failed musician, but I've seen your stuff on YouTube. I've followed some of your stuff on TikTok. So not failed, pivoted, maybe coming back into the world of music. So what has been your career, and how have you kind of ended up doing what you're doing now? And what I do want to touch on, and we touched on this as well, I know you're kind of a marketing consultant for Dooley, so maybe touch on a little bit on what Dooley does. But also, I think, build on this, the fact that I've seen this massive transition over the last 18 months or so of the type of content that you're seeing on LinkedIn and more broadly, probably on other social channels, but certainly LinkedIn. And you mentioned beforehand that you weren't really using LinkedIn until 2 years.
Yeah, that's right. So that's right, Alex.
Let's get
into
it.
For a long time, LinkedIn for me was, hey, this is the job board website, or it's the Facebook clone where I kind of make my profile my resume. Yeah. Right. And I think that's what LinkedIn was for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Coming into the last year or two. But I kind of have an interesting take on this, if you will. Yeah. So a background on me and from the music and the art side, I've been rapping since about 2008, I'd say. So I started very young. I'm for reference, I'm 25 this year. So to do the math right, I've been doing music for a long time. Hence, sometimes I joke and attach the failed artist label to it. But in 2008, started writing music, was recording by 2010, uploading to YouTube around that time frame. Mm-hmm. And that's when I first, and it's funny, right, to tie it back to LinkedIn, and the B2B side of content. I didn't realize that was a thing until March or April of 2020. Yeah. So throw back a decade, in 2010, I was on YouTube trying to be a YouTube partner. I was watching, Tim De La Ghetto. What are some other names from back then? I'm Shane Dawson.
So I'm a lot but I remember YouTube back then, certainly, I wish I'd picked up on it back, way back when, but it was all about the YouTube money. I think one of the creators.
AdSense. That's what it was. So I was, all that stuff. I was remixing every song on the radio, and this was before they had, the content ID, right?
Yeah.
Copyright strikes. So
Yeah.
any video, as long as you're getting views and Google is able to charge money for ads on top of it, you got a slice. So I was, bright-eyed, 12, 13 years old, shooting videos in my bedroom, right? Editing, old school, not GarageBand. What's the iMovie? And just making video from from that perspective. Once the B2B content revolution, so to speak, hit, it's pretty natural for me to start jumping in, and it did feel a lot like early YouTube, where it's like, hey, there's this new channel, fresh eyeballs, and there's this implied value in the content that's being made, regardless of viewership. Or the metrics, because I think from 2010 up to 2018, we really got into a content consumption mindset, or a metric tracking mindset, to where like the value of any piece of video or any type of social post was in the reach and audience and engagement. What I like about the B2B side of this is it places an additional qualifier on top, right? Is the audience, the fit between the product, the market, the content itself, the personas that it would be attracting, right? So now, as the sales rapper, I might not have as many, in fact, I joked about this all the time. I'm probably the highest paid rapper with 0 Spotify streams. I have no fans that stream my music on DSPs, right? But my audience on LinkedIn, because it's 85% mid-level or higher salespeople. It's a decently valuable market for let's say a company like Duly, right, who makes updating pipeline easier for salespeople, and they're a SaaS company. So having that brand, there's value there. And that was the biggest shift for me as an artist, as a creative, was, originally trying different things, making mixtapes, albums, singles, spending tens of thousands of dollars on music videos, Spotify playlist placements, Instagram ads. And it's crazy to me, because 5 years ago, I was doing this musician thing full time, right? Not having a good go at it. 2018, I graduated school. I ended up in sales. It's
as we all do,
as we all do, right?
And anything else to do? I was much the same. Well, I'll just have a go at sales.
You know what? For me at the time, it was, hey, I didn't get any of the consulting roles that I was interviewing for, and the music career wasn't taking off. All right, I guess I'll do sales. Well, so I ended up at Yelp. And I was doing the burner boiler rooms circuit, 120 calls a day, calling SMB, selling them online advertising. So that was my introduction to sales. Which I'm grateful for, because it forced me to thicken my skin a little bit, which has helped massively in just about every aspect of life. And from there, I stopped doing music. So there was no creative pursuit. Going into a company, 6,000, 7,000 employees, right? I know Yelp is tech, but it's not. The culture isn't like it is nowadays in this space, where a rap video for Justin Michael's book is celebrated rather than questioned. Right. So I really toned down a lot of the personality, the creative expression, and whatnot. When I entered sales, I was fortunate, and don't get me wrong, I did terribly at the start, as I'm sure most sales professionals do. Over time, I kind of learned the ropes. I had somewhat of an advantage, since I speak Mandarin Chinese natively, read, write. So I was acting kind of as an IC, but also a sales translator at the same time. So that allowed me to rise, at a decent pace. Sooner than later, I was in a more consultative selling role, selling a software versus advertising packages. So that happened, and then it was good for a bit. COVID hit. I switched companies right before COVID hit. Spent 3 days in the office, and then the rest from my living room. So that was tough. I ended up getting laid off from that role. And then, this was around September, October of 2020 last year, height of the pandemic. So you imagine not a lot of people are hiring, particularly salespeople.
No, it was brutal as an independent consultant as well here in the UK.
That's right.
Savage during 2020. No, we're not going to spend money on you.
Yeah. It's one of those things, right? They say pressure builds diamonds. I wouldn't consider myself a diamond yet, but the pressure was certainly good. And it kind of forced me to turn inwards and think, all right, Ding, hey, you have these basic sales skills, you know how to sell.
Yeah.
And you can't, you're not successful at selling yourself right now to a company for full-time role. But this unemployment's going to run out in 6 months. So, in my mind, it was like, all right, this was with America's kind of increased unemployment at the time. So, all right, let me bet on myself. I could probably find a mediocre sales job in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I have 5.5 months essentially to try and build up a business idea, a side hustle, whatever. My mindset was, if I do go back to full-time employment, when I do go back to full-time employment, I'm going to have this thing, right? And it's going to continue to generate income. So I thought, all right, I can rap, I can make music, I know how to shoot video. I see a lot of people doing this on LinkedIn because I'd come on a LinkedIn, to tie back to earlier. It's a job site, right? So you're looking at listings, and I'm like, who's this Justin Welsh guy that's posting stuff? What's Jake Dunlap? Who is this? Why are there so many people following this guy who's just talking about sales in his office? And by the way, I have this jacket. Was inspired. I saw it in a Jake Dunlap video. I'm like, I need that aesthetic for a music video. So that's coming soon. There we go. We're doing a lot of shout outs. I like to keep my podcast appearances loose. A bit of a wild card. I listen to too much Joe Rogan. I'm like, I can't, this isn't 30 minutes the President's Club. I'm not sure if I'm qualified to give that type of advice out.
I'm very glad you think you're an equivalent of a Joe Rogan podcast. I mean, that speaks volumes in terms of what you think about me. So I'll take that.
Hey man, I like your interview style. It's good.
Challenging times, but again, I think this is what's really interesting. We touched on this, is that you have the advantage that you are a creative, so you understand the creative process. Then you come onto LinkedIn because you think, hey, LinkedIn's a place to find a job. You start then seeing this style of content that's kind of on LinkedIn, which maybe you weren't necessarily expecting. So what kind of gave the idea? You know what? I'm going to set up a business where I'm going to wrap sales stuff. I'm going to go to organizations and go, I want to wrap your brand for you. I want to wrap your business proposition for you. I mean, that's quite a out there kind of concept to kind of smash together, if you will.
Certainly. I think it was around that time I read Play Bigger by Chris Lockhead, the category design creation book. Yeah. So it was in my head. I'm like, oh, I can't do something where it's I'm better than the competition. I got to do something where I have no competition. Yep. So in my head, I'm thinking, well, I can't compete with these industry rappers, right? I'm not Kendrick Lamar. I'm not Drake. I'm not Travis Scott. I don't have the industry behind me. I don't have the budgets. And I played that game before, right? It didn't work out, and also think on the sales side, oh shoot, here I am, at the time, 24 years old. I've made President's Club before, right? Smashed my quota, but 24 years old, maybe a little over a year of true SaaS experience. Yep. So, and then I'm competing with, all these reps who are, years more, maybe decades more experience than I have, that were just laid off. Yeah. Right. So in my own head, I kind of, not to disparage myself, but I think it's helpful to be realistic, with planning, right? Like to all the SDRs out there that are month 3 on the job, you're not going to go out there and get a good AE position at this point in your career. It's, you got to put in the time. Absolutely. So that was a kind of a natural marriage. It was just from Dean's perspective, what was my identity at the time, right? So I liked music. I've been rapping for over a decade. I'm a salesperson. That's my career. It's what I enjoy doing. I like helping people. I like being social. Right. And it just so happened that I fell into the rabbit's hole, dingless and in LinkedIn land, so to speak.
Yeah.
That'll be a good audiogram. And the more I dove into the LinkedIn side of things, and not to say LinkedIn or any B2B social is the end all be all of sales channels, right? Because we both know it's not, and phone's not dead, email's not dead, text messages aren't dead. I like Twitter because people don't.
Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. I mean,
yeah, there's a million of these things. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's about identifying like, hey, where is your prospect, right? It's the most cliched saying ever, but it's true.
True. Yeah.
So for me, it was, I was considering at that time, like, hey, do I want to stay in sales? I had a, pretty negative final sales experience up to this point, missing my number, having a hard time selling during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Right. So in my head, I was thinking, okay, starting a business, this gives me an opportunity to still sell, right? To have sales conversations and close deals, which it's like drugs at this point, just addicted to the dopamine rush. But maybe not have to deal with the other side of things, right? Like unrealistic performance expectations, a PIP, right?
Who's Dooley can help you with.
Exactly. Although that's one thing. I probably do need a better CRM process for the sales rapper. But that's neither here nor there.
You're a master of your own destiny. So what was the initial kind of reaction to, right, I've got this idea, going to be the sales rapper. I understand this, I understand that. And by the way, I don't think you should put yourself down in terms of, the experience side from sales. There are very few people, if any, kind of SDRs, whether it's like 2 minutes experience or 10 years experience, that have done the hard yards that you've done trying to make it in the music industry, because that got to be, I haven't done it, but you read about the stories, it must be savage. And you've done advertising sales, which is probably one of the most brutal, introductions to sales you could possibly do. So I think I wanted to, give yourself a pat on the back on that. But how did that then go? What did you then do in terms of was it your network to go and try this out with, or you just think, F it, I'm just going to go into LinkedIn? Did you do your own?
You know what it was? It was bit of A, bit of B. Yeah. So I didn't have any LinkedIn network, as of May or April 2020. Yeah. Here's the origin story, honestly. Yeah. I don't think I've ever told this. So exclusive Death of a Salesman content. I've been following Corporate Bro. Shout out Ross. I've been following Corp for a good while, starting as early as when I was in the bullpen in 2018, watching those videos.
Yeah.
And I remember around the start of the pandemic, everyone was like, oh, dude, virtual, micro communities, Slacks, Zooms. What is this stuff, right? What is this? So I saw Corp post this event that had, I think it was Sahil Mansuri from Bravado, Colin Cadmus, Sarah Brazier. So those were the first three like LinkedIn sales space people that I kind of heard, and this all through Corporate Bro.
Yeah.
And it is very serendipitous because shortly after that, Sahil started doing this Zoom series called Zoom Dinner.
Yeah.
And so it was about 12 to at its biggest, I think 20 something people micro community, and it was really cool because it had people from different stages of their sales and marketing careers, different perspective, and we were all talking. And this was at the start of the pandemic, before this social selling or the new normal things had crystallized. So it was a lot of us figuring things out together, but coming from different walks or different stages of our careers. That's where I met Mark originally, Mark Young and Dooley. So it was through that, and the first time I even conflated rap with this B2B world was we were talking about hobbies. And I said, hey, by the way, I rap, I freestyle a little bit. And then next thing you know, I was on a Zoom call freestyling for 20 something people.
Say everyone goes, yeah, all right, you rap, come on, prove it. And they went,
yeah.
Holy shit,
and it was one of those things. I'm happy to demo this in the call. But it's so I had people typing words in the Zoom chat. I was playing a beat, over the speakers, live incorporating all the words in a freestyle. And 2 minutes later, everyone's like, holy shit, Ding. I think you might have something here. I mean, because they're, it's salespeople. So they were throwing words like sales navigator, quota, close one,
outreach,
in the chat, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, and then I didn't think much of it. So that was around the time I was, struggling at my last sales role. So there was a period where I kind of dropped off LinkedIn. I was like, what am I doing? Freaking out a little bit. And then the writing kind of got clear on the wall. I'm like, all right, like this is my timeline. It's looking like I'm out of there. So I get back on LinkedIn. The community encourages me, the small community I have at that point, right? And I start putting content out. The first rap song I posted for LinkedIn was a remix to Jack Harlow's "What's Poppin'" called "What's Cookin'."
Yeah.
The stereotypical sales manager. Hey, what's cooking? What do you got cooking up for me today? Type of deal. And that got pretty good response for a first video. I think I only had a couple hundred connections at the time. And the video got, say, close to 200 engagements. Yeah, which is decent for the time. And then following that, Sahil actually reached out to me, Bravado, and he's like, you should do a rap song for Zenner. And then a little while, didn't really follow up on that. And then one night I got this beat from my producer, and I just got it. Zenner was the day before. It was fresh on my mind. Okay, cool. Let me rap about this company, this group of people, level up in sales, right? So that was my first sales rap, kind of the pilot. And the funniest part about some of this is definitely premeditated. Yeah, a lot of this was also serendipitous. It's kind of putting the pieces together as I went along. Yeah. And so Sahil heard that song. We liked it. We did a music video, posted on LinkedIn, went viral. Yeah. And that's when I realized, there might be something here. Because I see all these companies and their employees, trying to make good social content, right? The good ones are, the audiograms, right? The podcasts where they have the animations and the subtitles, and those are the good ones. The bad ones are like, here's a link to this company blog, right? We all know how poorly links perform on LinkedIn, which is hilarious because link isn't LinkedIn. Anyways, so that's when the sales rapper started. And I remember early on, I made another rapping video to promote this. I'm like, all right, let me test the concept, right? Yeah. If this is, I'm going to promise that this works, and I'm going to go out and try and sell people on it, then it should work for me too. Yeah. Right. So I made a rap, remixed another popular song talking about sales, talking about LinkedIn. And at the end I put, hey, it's a Christmas special. I'll make you a sales rap for $99. Yeah. I charge a lot more for a song nowadays. But at the time I was like, proof of concept. Let's see if, this works. Yeah. A, can this bring me inbound leads? And two, is there actual interest? Is there a product market fit? Luckily for me, I had a couple of inquiries, and then I just kept selling them. That's about it. And here I am today.
The thing is, but that's the thing. You're putting yourself out there. What I also like is, and again, this isn't meant to come across as the way it is, but your age means you have because you've got no preconceptions of what LinkedIn is or isn't.
Oh, certainly.
You just come in and done your thing. And I believe that's the for me, it's because I've been on LinkedIn for God knows. I used to be in recruitment way back when in my previous life. So I've been on LinkedIn for almost as long as LinkedIn's been around. So I've kind of seen this evolution. And I think if the pandemic hadn't happened, I mean, the world would be a much better place, but hopefully the world's going to be an even better place post this. what we're seeing now just wouldn't have been allowed. The Facebook police would have been out there going, this isn't Facebook, this is LinkedIn, you know, kind of why are you doing this? But everybody needed a kind of an outlet. So even in the world of legal, seeing lawyers, attorneys posting pictures of their home life or their desk setup or the picture of their dog, which, you know, for them is like a really big thing to where I'm now starting to see. So big shout out to Alex Sheridan, some of the video content he creates.
Oh yeah, Alex Sheridan's brilliant.
Insane. And if I think about my video journey as being gone from god awful to okay to I think I'm doing an okay job, but I'm kind of self-taught in terms of my hashtag Ask Alex's. I've been viral once. I never want to go viral again because pain in the backside in terms of having to manage all the all the side of things. But it's also my take on it is TikTok's got a lot to answer for, because of that generation of kind of the micro video content. And, you know, TikTok's kind of where YouTube was now. It's the Wild West in terms of ripping audio and that. But this whole change, and I you know, I applaud organizations like Dooley. I know you're a consultant for them, but kind of allowing that. And the thing around serendipity, and this is what I try and coach all my clients on, that's what social media is so brilliant about. Now, I just had a headline once back on my LinkedIn profile that accelerating serendipity through social. Until however long ago, 2 weeks ago, you and I didn't know we existed on the planet. And here we are now having a conversation about what you're doing and how you've leveraged content in a way. You come up with an idea, you've seen a gap in the market, and kudos to you. It's working. And that's, you know, what I think is so brilliant. And if we look at what I'm seeing just in the round in terms of the corporate, the journey they still have to go on around how you can leverage video, but also, you know, we touched on this, is leverage your existing employee base skill set. Because I bet there are lots of other you in massive organizations who are passionate content creators, videographers, graphic designers, all these kind of skill sets, but the organizations just don't know they even have this talent within their company, because they go, we're going to go to marketing. Well, someone in your IT team might be a whiz on, you know, TikTok, or someone in your finance team might be a whiz on, you know, video design or whatever it is. Just because that's the day job doesn't necessarily mean they can't bring other stuff to the business. So where I mean, you're riding the wave. Where is this all going for you? Have you got a plan, or are you kind of building it as they say?
Yeah.
Our plan is it's flying.
Certainly, I think there's elements of both. But to your point, Alex, you know, with the companies, right, and kind of mobilizing their workforce to encourage, right, their employee base to make content. I mean, it's pretty self-evident when you look at how much the average company page on LinkedIn gets in terms of engagements versus their employees, you know, or Bill Gates, right, versus Microsoft. And you look at the followership, it's different because people are attracted to people, and especially on social media websites, right? Social, right? It's people. So I think like, you know, shout out to Sales Loft, what they're doing with Tom Boston, Amanda Nielsen at FormStack. She's crushing on TikTok. The list goes on. I'm curious though, to your point about, you know, in the more corporate space. So I'll, you know, full transparency, I work mainly in the SaaS space. I have clients that are also, you know, agencies. I'm looking to leverage more, you know, channel selling partnerships. Let's say, you know, a marketing agency for big corporate, and they have like specific, hey, here's this initiative we might want a sales rep for. So that could be interesting. But I none of my outbound efforts into the corporate space have had much traction.
There's I've got two things on that, because the world that I'm in is very separate to kind of the world that you're in. Just purely from cross.
Because I'm in startup land, right? Like I'm my best client is, you know, they have maybe 1 to 2 people on their marketing team, and they just got tens of millions of dollars in funding, and they haven't hired anyone yet, but they need content yesterday. That's my ideal client.
I need to talk to them and sell them some stuff. I think the interesting thing is that corporate has to go on this this journey. But what is interesting for me is I'm starting to see kind of the brand police, those listening, I'm doing inverted commas, starting to relax, starting to relax a little bit, and understanding that, to your point, Ding, the human is more powerful than the corporate, but actually human-led content, i.e. this is me, the person, versus the standard blah, at the moment is outperforming everything. If you can then add a unique spin to it, but what you're doing that's so clever is you're not just rapping for the sake of rapping on LinkedIn. There is a message and a purpose behind what you're doing in terms of bringing the two together. So I believe that there is a space for you, and I believe there is an opportunity for some of these organizations that are maybe starting to spin out with their innovation hubs, again, inverted commas for those that are listening, and want to be seen as kind of more approachable and less corporate. It's also important for the future talent, the future, your age group, your demographic. And I'm not going to give it a label, because you are just who you are in terms of your age group. You will be looking at brands through a very different lens to what was happening 10, 15, 20 years ago. The challenge is that the leadership has to wrestle with this concept that how things were done when they were 23, 24 is very different to how 23, 24-year-olds, expect things to happen now. And I'm learning things on, TikTok, like sheesh, what that kind of means. And sheesh, exactly. It's like, I feel embarrassed kind of doing it at a 43-year-old, but it's just the way the world that is that is going. So, bravo to you is all I can say, and absolutely keep up the good work. And I've got some ideas of some people in my network I think you could, certainly from an agency side, that I could introduce you to that might be potentially interested in your rapping skill set. So I know most podcasters finish off with a random question in this or that, but I'm going to flip it and make it about me for once. My claim to fame is, and I didn't want to admit this until the end, I wrote, so Vanilla Ice
Yes.
I wrote back in 2017 a blog called The Social Selling Rap 2.
Oh, no way.
To the Vanilla Ice. I just played around with some of the lyrics. I'll send the link to you after this. And Vanilla Ice retweeted my tweet back then about writing the Vanilla Ice, the social selling rap. And if I got 1 million retweets, I would rap it. Since then, I have had lots of people, I can't believe I'm doing this. I've had lots of people saying, Alex, you need to do this. So I will commit to working with you, Ding, and we can talk about the commercials. I want to do this for free because we all need to make a living. But would you be up for collaborating on my social selling rap, which I wrote back in 20?
Let's do it, man. That's good. I'm excited. I'm on Google right now trying to look this up.
It's a LinkedIn article. I'll send it to you directly after this. But okay, folks, you heard it here on my podcast on what are we, the 7th of July 2021. I'm going to commit to working with Ding to create a little ditty from my social selling rap back in 2017. Where can people find you? LinkedIn, obviously now. I found you on TikTok. I found you on YouTube. Are those the best places to start out with?
Yeah, absolutely. So website's under construction. I know everyone says that. Website budget is under construction. Q4 this year, Q1 of next year, probably going to be called salesrapper.com because ding.com is taken. Yeah, find me on LinkedIn. That's where I'm the most active. I have a weekly Clubhouse show on Clubhouse. That's where I have the most followers. Not that it means anything. But
I don't use Clubhouse. I'm on Clubhouse, so we'll put the links in for that. If you've listened to this podcast, wherever you listen to it, whatever channel, and you're reaching out to Ding, then make sure you've mentioned this, and probably remind him that I've committed to doing a rap with him. And other than that, Ding, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for agreeing to be on my show. I'll let you sign us off in whatever way you want to sign us off. It's up to you.
Absolutely, Alex. Appreciate you for having me on the show. It was a blast to be here. I found the social selling rep. Yo, social selling, let's kick it. Social and digital, baby. Social and digital. Is that the one?
That's the one. Yeah.
There we go. I'm excited for this. Cool. Alex, I don't know what time's looking out on your end. I have a little bit of time for my next call. What I could do is we could do a little death of a salesman freestyle.
Yeah.
To wrap this call.
Yeah. All right. Let's. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm glad my wife is 3 floors below me in the house, so she can't listen.
There we go.
So
Alex, why don't you give me a beat, an instrumental that you like, and then I'll play that through my sound. So you'll get it in the Zoom audio itself. All of my sound is mixed and mastered already, going in through the live effects.
Any kind of just, I'm a bit of an Eminem fan. I'm a bit of a dare I say, Machine Gun Kelly fan. He's got some good stuff. I
got you. Let's see this.
Yeah, let's go with some kind of Eminem type sort of.
Cool. So I have Eminem type beat queued up, and then so once I start playing the beat, Alex, I want you to put words in the chat, and I'll incorporate them in a freestyle. We'll go for 2 minutes or so.
Multitasking. Right. Okay. So
let me know if you get audio.
Got it.
With the real salespeople, please stand up. Yeah, Wolf of Wall Street, send me this pin. Now we on podcast, Death of a Salesman. Hey, right here is so pivotal, and I be getting all my strategies digital. It's so lyrical, I'm not gonna rhyme with that. Yeah, I got AI, in fact. Look, I ain't saying I hate you, but I see it in your intent data. I just grabbing my pen, I've been rapping again. I got a bad CRM, I had to do something. I be acting unruly, but I update my pipeline faster with Dooley. So right now my flow's stalling, and I be ring cold calling. Yeah, sometimes it hurts, but just put on your shirt, cause you know that it works, and email works, and your details works, and you should just fix the name details first. Let me just throw you a detail curse. What I do it and I put it in forwards and reverse it all works. Yeah, just go check out the channels. You could be in Portland wearing flannels, or maybe do it like Chance in Chicago, that's Channel. I do what I had to, the mad flow. Yeah, we've been bombing with Ding. I'm on LinkedIn, I said content is king. Hey, like where is he spitting? You know it's all about serendipity. Right there, yeah, once in a moment I be going, I'm focused, I'm a lion uncaged. I be on LinkedIn there in a rage, but it's all right, I do a social sell on a stage. Give me some more words in the chat, Alex. Yeah, they like, how about this, trying gonna challenge me? I got the talent, see? Yeah, it's like falconry, how I fly with it. I don't lie with it, I decide it is something that I can't be in 5 minutes. Yeah, I hate assuming. I just cold call and make it human. Hey, and not that boring shit, cause we can't be way too corporate. And know you're more than this, so get it through your ear holes orifice. Yeah, right there I be going like a plumber, pulling up in a Hummer. Age is nothing but a number. Yeah, and I ain't trying to blunder. That's what we do it, I just tear it all asunder. Like lightning and thunder. Yeah, it's stupid, I be keeping with the flow like music. It's fluid, if a 43-year-old can do it, so can you, kid.
That was insane. Oh wow, that's the best end of the podcast I mean, hands down. I mean, I bow to your awesomeness, and I'm now doubly terrified that I've committed to collaborate on the social selling rappers.
Oh, this is gonna be fun. Well. This is gonna be a good time.
Ding, you're an absolute legend, as we say in the UK. You're a star. Everybody, just go. Just get Ding to do your content marketing for you. No question, no hands down. My friend, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, man.